Welcome back to my channel. I am so excited for today's video because we're talking about one of my favorite things, travel. And yes, we did travel during COVID, which is what this video is all about. So if you're new to my channel, I am Sarah Taylor. I'm a plus size personal trainer. We are in my virtual studio right now, so I teach virtual classes for plus size women, helping women build their confidence and strength in and out of the gym. So all of our classes are accessible for different fitness levels, as well as we've got a dose of self-love because that is where it all starts, on the inside. Anyways, I am not gonna get too long into this introduction. I want you to enjoy this video. We received a ton of questions, both of us, about our travel experience, so we're sharing the whole thing. The video is about an hour, and at the end I've included some footage from our trip as well. It was a pretty low-key trip, as you will hear, so most of the photos are of my bikinis. I had a different one every day. Most of them are from Vie En Rose, the Cheeky Bikini, and my girl Amadora Designs. If you're looking for where each of them are from, head over to my Instagram, the.sarahtaylor, and I've tagged them in all of those posts. Also, you can find Mike at Michael K. Hyatt. He is a real estate agent in the GTA area. We are both entrepreneurs, which makes things interesting. Anyways, I'm gonna leave it at that. Enjoy! Hey, so we recently got back from a trip to Jamaica. We went to Negril, and both of us got questions from a lot of people about what the whole travel experience was like with all that's been going on in the world. A lot of changes, and we did receive the question, why on earth did you go on vacation in a pandemic? So we're gonna talk about all of that stuff today. So why did we go on vacation?
Well, we went because, yeah, during this crazy time, there's a lot of great deals. And so we got one. And we said, you know what? Let's go and do this. Because it was the right time. We had a lot of changes going on. So it was, hey, time for us to take a little bit of a break and reset. As you know, this pandemic has made us completely reset life. We needed a reset from our life that has changed so much. And so, you know, as these women do, she found a great deal. Like, we went to the Royalton Negril. We were there 2 years ago for a colleagues of mine's 10-year wedding anniversary. And we said, yo, this is a great place to go back to. And her deal that she found was amazing. I'll let you tell her the details since she did all the booking.
So we booked on Expedia, and we booked for 9 nights, 10 days. He's rolling his eyes because we argued about how many days this trip actually was.
That'd be another segment we could talk about.
But we booked it through Expedia, and I had found it for those 9 nights. It was about $600 cheaper. $700 cheaper per person than when we booked for 1 week 2 years ago. Yeah. So that was a very big draw for us.
100%.
And we had just moved home and my business into our home. And it had been a stressful couple months. I mean, for all of us, it's kind of been a stressful couple months.
Yes.
And I think in choosing the Royalton, because we had been there before, we already knew that their standards were really, really high. Yeah. So we knew that they were going to be very careful in terms of precautions with all the COVID-related precautions. And we felt comfortable enough to go there. We had done the research about going to Jamaica as well. The cases were really low. It was under 1,000. And there were certain standards that resorts have to be hitting. And the Royalton was obviously doing that. We had a really good experience the last time we went, and this one was just the same. So let's get into what traveling was actually like.
Well, it was actually, Jamaica had more than 1,000 cases. They had about 5,000 cases. But still, for a country that has the same population as Toronto, that has way less cases, we're like, you know what? We're in stage, where were we? Stage 2 when we left?
Stage 3.
Stage 3 of, you know, allowing us to get back to some sort of normalcy. So we're like, you know what? Let's go. Yeah. It makes sense, right? So, yeah, now to how was the trip? So I'll be honest with you, I was very nervous about the whole situation because, you know, we don't know what we're stepping into, and everybody who's dealing with what like their parts, the working parts, they don't know what they're dealing with either, right? It's just it's trial and error, a lot of it. So anyways, needless to say, I'm also not a great flyer. I am very uneasy with planes. I'll jump on a plane and go where I need to go, but it's still anyways, so it started off by us having to fill out a form.
Yeah, so 5 days before you left, before traveling into Jamaica, you had to get approval to travel there. So because Canada was considered lower risk compared to other countries, we didn't need to have a negative COVID test. It was an option. But if you were traveling from the US, Mexico, or the Dominican, and there was a couple other countries I think as well, that you had to have a negative COVID test in order to get that approval. So 5 days before we filled out our application, and we had approval within like 5 minutes to go, because both of us have been pretty quarantined during this whole time as it was and haven't had exposure. But it was the standard questions that you get. Have you traveled? Have you been in contact with anyone with COVID? Do you have any of the symptoms? That kind of thing. So once we had that approval, we knew we can continue to plan to get ready for the trip.
Yep.
And then the day we left, actually, the day before we left was interesting.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot about this. So the day before we left, I was actually going to get my nails and toes done and having a like final goodbye of my studio downtown. And so I was meeting a bunch of my community members and the girls just to like hang out at the park. And on the way there, my car died on the highway, overheated completely. I ended up being able to pull into where my dentist was and had to take an Uber to the city. And thank God one of my girls drove me back to my car, and a tow truck had arrived just as we had got there, towed my car to the mechanic. Thank God it happened the day before, because we were gonna drop my car off at the mechanic the morning of. And if that would have happened on the way there, it would have been a disaster. Yeah. And then you were out for a bike ride.
Yeah, went to go get something to eat. And as I'm waiting for my food, I'm like, why is my bike sitting so low? I try to adjust my seat. Wasn't working. Then I looked at the frame and realized my frame had bent. I don't know how. Not like I jumped over any bumps. I'm not a BMX biker. And it completely bent. And that's why my pedal was hitting the ground when I was standing up pedaling. And I'm like, what is going on? I'm not a superstitious person, but I do read signs. And I'm like, this is happening to both of us before we leave. So it's either we need to be careful or we just got rid of all the bad juju before we left. So, yeah, it was a very interesting day before. Yeah, and plus, it was the last day with my daughter.
Oh yeah, very true.
That I have not seen in 3 weeks. This is tough for me right now. I'm not. She knows I'm crying. It's not really a
but cry. That has been probably the biggest challenge
that has been
in taking this trip, was not being able to see her.
Yeah, 100%. But I mean, these are just the protocols and what you've got to face. But we could delve in that at the end of discussing, getting there and the trip and getting back. So to keep on track.
We took an Uber.
That's right. We took an Uber to the airport. You know what? Getting through customs and all that felt quite normal on this end.
100%.
On this end, like at Pearson, it felt normal. Like, we got there a couple hours early. We got through pretty quickly. There's checkpoints obviously now where they're checking your temperature. And so, yeah, but it didn't feel like it took any longer than normal.
No. The only difference was the whole time traveling, you had to wear your mask.
Yes.
Restaurants were not open in the airport.
Right.
There was once we got in and we were at our terminal, there was 1 or 2 restaurants and some quick things you could grab, but pretty much everything in the airport was closed. Stores were even closed.
Stores were closed. That's right. Yep.
It was a little eerie.
Yeah, it's a little. That's when you start to realize how serious this pandemic is, because you start to realize that stuff that you're accustomed to being able to do, or actually take your mind off of, for me, since I'm not a great flyer, to take your mind off of is not there, right? And then we got a message that, or not a message, or was it something that came on the intercom that said you should pick up stuff from now, or did you already know that we should pick up stuff because they're not going to serve us on the plane?
Right. Yeah.
So whatever it was, either she knew or it was said over the intercom. We ended up getting like a bag of like sandwiches and salads and stuff because they don't serve you on the plane. So now we could fast forward into actually getting on the plane. So this time now, we will have to say I was actually quite surprised that the flight was as packed as it was.
I was really surprised too. There was like a couple empty seats, but only a handful.
Yeah, it was pretty much a packed flight going to Jamaica. So I was like, wow, okay.
That was surprising.
That was very surprising, yeah.
We were lucky though because you can reserve your seats 24 hours ahead of time, and I had found a row that had 3 empty seats, so I booked us in that, which was nice because then we actually had a row to ourselves.
Yes, that's true.
So we had space between us and no foreign person with us in our little space.
Foreign from Toronto, but whatever.
But nobody who wasn't in our like immediate circle.
Yeah, exactly. So that was cool. But it definitely is. It is difficult to travel with your mask on the whole time.
It's
like,
a lot.
It's a lot. You know, I did find myself a couple of times, you know, putting it just below my nose, but you know, they'll walk by and say, "Hey, get it up." Yeah. So,
They were really good at monitoring that.
Yeah, they were very good.
And the seats that were empty, they did say to people, "Hey, do you want to move seats if there was space?"
Yeah, so they could spread it out more.
They don't normally.
No, they wouldn't have done that. No.
But I found that we flew with Air Canada, and I found their staff was really accommodating and really pleasant, especially given all the changes that they have to implement as doing what they do.
100%. So they didn't offer any food. So at the beginning of the trip, is that bag here? Oh no, it's upstairs. Anyway, so at the beginning of the trip, they give you, when you first board the plane, they give you a bag, a little Ziploc bag that has hand sanitizer, gloves, extra masks, earphones. What else was in there?
Oh, and some like wipes.
Oh, wipes and a bag of pretzels.
Oh yeah.
That's right. So that's your food. So once again, make sure you have your own food because they will not be serving any food, right? Yeah. They do serve drinks and tea and coffee and stuff like that. Regular stuff, but
no alcohol.
No alcohol.
No duty free.
No duty free, exactly. Nothing. So it's boring flights. Can't get drunk on the flight no more, man. Good old days. Anyways.
So we get to Jamaica.
Yes. Now here's where and this is where I knew that this is where it's gonna really get serious. And it was. We got off the plane. It literally took us 2 hours just to get to the nursing station where they ask these questions again. And if they feel or if they see that where you're coming from, they may ask you to administer a test at that point. It took us 2 hours to get it to be in a line to just get to that point.
With not much communication about what to expect or anything like that. It was just wait in this line and stay social distance. Yeah. And somebody who just paced back and forth.
Yeah, it was a off-duty soldier. Yeah. That was pacing back and forth, making sure, trying to keep us in line as good as possible.
So then we get to the nurse's desk, and she asks the typical questions about symptoms, being around anybody traveling. And
the documents.
Oh, we had to have the documents about being approved to travel. Yeah. She verified all that information. And then we got told...
Hold on. Before that, we got registered. They all had their own iPads. Oh, yeah. Name, address, next of kin, all these things got registered on an iPad that probably got sent to the government and whatnot. And pictures of our IDs, our passports, all got registered on this iPad. So that they'll know that, okay, we got these new people in. And this is why it took so long in the line, because everybody had to get this done. Kids, mom, that doesn't matter. Everybody gets this done. This is before you could even get in and declare. You give that declare sheet when you get into Sangster Airport in Montego Bay. And so, yes, then now, what did she tell us?
Then she tells us, So you can go to the resort. You don't need to quarantine, because if you had to take a COVID test, you had to quarantine for 2 days in your room if they thought you were at risk. And we saw, like, while we were waiting, we could see some people given pieces of paper where they had to track their temperature every day. So it depended on where you were from or how you answered your questions. But for us, we were told we were considered high risk. And that we could not leave the resort. So that was something that we were surprised about and not totally expecting. And that if you get caught leaving the resort, you can actually be fined and potentially put in jail.
Yes, exactly.
So.
But on a kind of a good note, it was during 2 weeks ago they had elections in Jamaica. So because of the elections, and if you've ever traveled to Jamaica, you know history of Jamaica. Election time is very, it's pretty wild. Anything could happen. So there was a national curfew, and so the city was locked down at 9 o'clock. Everybody had to be in at 9. So it didn't really matter that we couldn't leave because there was curfews anyways. I mean, so. But yeah, it was still a little bit disheartening because, if you've ever traveled to Negril, you know that Negril is one of the safest places to be. 2 years ago when we went, we left the resort every night for 7 nights straight. Every night we went out to a club, different restaurants, went out, just whatever. I have a driver out there. By the way, if you want to link up with an amazing driver, get at me. I got you. My guy does everything. His name is Mr. Everything. Anyways, but yeah, so, it's a very nice place. So it would have been nice to be able to, go to Rick's Cafe one day.
7 Mile Beach.
7 Mile Beach. Just go for, just get off the resort and do something different. And we just couldn't do that.
And go get your patties. I couldn't eat patties, but that is one of his favorite things.
I couldn't. Every time I get off the plane at Sangster, that Tasties that has the bar right at the corner where, you before you get to your bus to go to wherever you're going, they always run out. Either I'm there too early or I'm there too late. Pissing me off. Anyways, it's another clip.
So we get off through that process.
Yeah, we get through that process.
We go finally he goes and buys some patties.
I did. I got a chicken and a beef, a veg. Yes.
And I waited in line so we could get our transportation. So that is one other thing that was also different.
Yes.
I've never traveled with Expedia before for an all-inclusive. I've done flights or hotel, but not an all-inclusive. And they don't cover your transportation from the airport to the hotel and back. They don't include that transfer. I don't know if it's an Expedia thing or if it's a COVID thing with Expedia. So we had to book a private one for that. But it was nice because there was only one other person on the way there with us in a smaller bus. So again, being able to social distance.
And to be honest with you, I don't think that person was actually going anywhere. I think it was a friend of his.
So it was
so it's really just us in this little bus. But even that experience was fun when there was a bunch of people going to and so you'd have different people going to one big bus that'd be taking people to the Grand Palladium, which is on the way to the Royalton, and then Sandals, and so it was more of an event. It was exciting. It was fun because now you're getting into it. You're nice, we're almost at the resort, but it was not the same.
No, it was definitely not the same. We knew at that point that we were going into a very chill vacation.
Yes, exactly.
We knew we weren't leaving, and you could tell by not many people being around. So that transfer was about $100 there and back for both of us, which is pretty reasonable.
Which is not bad, right?
So then we get to the hotel.
Yes.
And
so specifically, we get to the hotel, and they drop us off. They take our bags. They disinfect our bags.
Yeah.
And they actually get us to step on a mat before we actually step onto the Royalton grounds. So there's the pull up the parking lot area.
I forgot about that,
And they literally can you wipe your feet off on the mat, please? And hand sanitizer. That started the non-stop hand sanitizing of the 9 days and 10 nights, or 10 days and 9 nights, or whatever it is. It was non-stop. Thermometer check. And one thing I really wanted to point out too, which is I thought that was really cool, is that in Jamaica they don't take your temperature of your forehead. they take it at your wrist or in your elbow crease. And I thought that was actually pretty smart because...
Sorry, guys.
Okay. Yeah, it's not an earthquake. She's just jittery. I'm just joking. Yeah, so I thought that was smart because, you know, if your head's always exposed, so that could get the temperature of if it's really hot outside or if you had your head in a freezer, right? So I thought that was actually pretty cool because when we were at Pearson, they were taking the temperature. That was the first time I actually had the temperature taking at my forehead. So, but that was the last time. When we were in Jamaica, it was just here, and that's it.
Yeah.
So we got our temperatures taken. We're all good. And yeah, once you get there, it's like you're back in Toronto.
Yeah.
Glass casing in front of the customer service representative that's going to be assisting you.
They clean every time someone comes and visits. You have to wait till they clean the area till they can serve you.
Yeah, they have their 6 feet meter markers all lined up in the lobby. And yes, we did notice that there definitely wasn't as many people as there was when we went 2 years ago. It definitely was different. It was definitely a lighter load. So
before we get to that part of the experience, we also did get a free room upgrade.
Oh, yes.
Somebody is a really good sweet talker.
I don't know who that is.
And his accent was turned on as soon as we landed.
My background is Jamaican, so it's kind of easy when my mom's been here since she was 16 years old and sounds like she's never left Jamaica. So it's kind of easy to pick it up.
I'm a fan.
So you know, we told them that, hey, listen, we were here before, we were here 2 years ago, and they're like, oh, well, welcome back, and you know what, we're able to do that for you, and I'm just like, that's great.
So we got more of an upgrade than we expected. We had a junior suite, and they also gave us a bottle of red wine and white wine.
Yes.
That was delivered to our room, and so then they took our luggage to our room,
which is normal, which we always do. So now to the difference of protocol now.
I will say before protocol, we got there, got in our room, put on our swimsuits, and went to the ocean.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
That was like...
Yeah, right away.
Because it was like 5 o'clock, so it was like almost sunset time.
Yes. So, okay, so first, before we did all that, we kind of got the breakdown of how things are working now that, you know, we're in this crisis. So the Royalton normally has about 8 restaurants that are open every day. Obviously at certain times, dinner time for the a la carte restaurants, and the buffet's open 3 times a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Because of the reduced numbers they only opened on certain days 1 restaurant per night, one a la carte restaurant per night. The buffet was always open, which is great. But that's it. You would have to get reservations in by 9:30 of that morning. And that was, you know, we'll get to that later on. That just remind us to get back to...
No one's going to tell us nothing.
Okay, well, we'll have to remember. Anyways, that was tough. But you know what? We weren't really that disappointed.
No.
Because the buffet, the food there is amazing.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of different stations. They have your typical Canadian American food. They have your West Indian food. They have, you know, stuff that they cook right in front of you, steaks, fish, lobster, everything. And then they have a juice bar. They have your dessert station. They have a pizza station and a pasta station. So really,
and they had a vegetarian vegan section.
Oh, that's right.
I don't remember from last
year.
year.
They didn't have that last time. You're right. 2 years ago, they didn't have that.
And they had a gluten-free section in the dessert area. That was also new.
Yeah. So the buffet was really catered now to everybody's experience, for everybody to have a good experience.
And the food is amazing.
Yeah, it is. Like you don't need to go to the a la carte. It's just because you say you want to, you know, dress up one night and do something fancy with your significant other or the kids and whatnot. But that's when you would go to the a la carte.
So we got one night at an a la carte. We went to the steakhouse.
Hunters? Yes, yeah. Hunters, which is good. And I needed to because, let's go back. Do we have a screen from last? I'm just joking.
We're
So
not that technical.
No, we're not
yet.
that technical yet. But 2 years ago we went, and my colleague had his wedding anniversary. That was the night
That you planned the dinner.
that I planned a dinner party, got it all set up, and done this super inebriated because I just left the pool party, which was a foam pool party, and
there was a game at the bar that I won.
oh,
Who won?
that's
Who won?
right.
I won? At the
See,
bar?
she's always got to try and freaking big up herself. You see what I'm saying? I don't get it.
I don't win very often when
That's
it's
true.
against you.
That's true.
I did win the cards last night too. Just, you know.
Why you gotta bring up bullshit? See, she lives in the past. That's the
Stop
problem.
it.
That's the problem with our relationship. You always living in the past. I'm just joking. Anyways, yeah. So that game. Anyways, bottom line is, the dinner was set up for hunters, and I didn't make it to dinner. I mean, I was there. I didn't eat my dinner because I had to go back to the hotel room and have a strong power nap. Yeah.
We'll leave it at that.
We'll leave it at that, exactly. But, so we got 1 reservations at Hunter's. So I finally had my steak and potatoes. It was worth the wait. 2 years later, it was worth the wait. It was very good. And that's the thing. Royalton, the food is amazing, hands down. So, continuing on the food tip, we had to ask. What did we ask?
About patties?
No, come on. We would never ask about patties. You know they don't sell patties. Come on. We're talking about food. What other food options are on that resort that we wanted to make sure were still available?
The jerk
Stay
hut.
with me. Oh.
The jerk hut. So by the pool, there's a jerk hut. There's also like a food truck as well.
Food truck, yeah. That
but
has
like we were not interested in that because the jerk hut every day, rice and peas, jerk chicken, jerk pork.
Jerk sausage links, chicken soup.
Oh yeah.
Chicken soup that was.
You love soup.
Oh my gosh, it was amazing.
Usually some kind of veggies.
Yeah, some type of veggies. Sweet corn that they actually boiled in condensed milk. Oh my gosh.
So needless to say, we would stay by the pool.
Yes.
For the day. For the most part.
She's staying by the pool all day because, you know, she's trying to get as dark-skinned as I am. And I have to keep her company in the shade. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we would eat, that's where we ate every day for lunch because, I mean, I ate jerk chicken, rice, and peas every day for lunch, except for 2 days that I had some stomach problems.
Yeah.
And
actually, one day we had something else. So there was something else that you're allowed to, that was open just during a certain time frame every day. I think what's every day, right?
What?
Gracia, the Italian restaurant.
Oh, you had that, yeah.
So the Italian restaurant had wood oven pizza that you could order from 12 till 3, I believe, every day. So that was actually really good. And that was another good option to have. But you will never go wrong with eating that jerk chicken, the jerk pork every day. I'm telling you, it was so good.
So good.
Man. Yeah. So, anyways.
And everything's fresh. And yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
And you could tell though, so we were by the pool most of the time. And
100%.
how the resort is laid out is you have the pool, and then you can see the ocean. It's like an infinity pool. So you can see the ocean. So we did go to the beach a couple times as well.
Yeah.
But we pretty much hung out there. But you could tell how many people were not there.
Yeah. So once again, as much fun and as good as the food is, back to reality, it's definitely different. You know, we were there 2 years ago, the pool was packed.
Yeah.
It was, there's no, here's for example. So 2 years ago, when you wanted to reserve a spot by the pool, you'd have to get up by 5, 6 o'clock or the night before and go put down a towel.
Just on the chairs.
Just
not
on the
even
chairs.
fancy cabanas.
Yeah, just on the chairs. But here's the other thing we forgot. Those fancy cabanas you actually had to pay for.
Oh yeah, that's true.
2 years ago, you had to pay for those cabanas so that you could have them for the day. So people would rent those out for the day. This time around, with the pandemic happening, those chairs, we could get up on our way to breakfast, put a towel down.
There's only one day we didn't get it.
Yeah, only one day.
Yeah.
And and then we'll explain quickly because, excuse me, locals really not inundate, but not in a major way, but we have more locals that come onto the resort for the weekend so they could get away.
Yeah.
So with that now, it gets really busy from Friday till about Sunday, maybe Monday. But once you're during a week, it's super quiet.
Yeah.
So those cabanas that 2 years ago, once you had to pay for, now we were able to just drop a towel on and there was no problem, right?
Yeah. Something else about the resort is the staff. So, I mean, I feel like everybody in the world has been stressed with COVID, but the staff was phenomenal.
Yeah.
We didn't encounter one,
rude person,
nothing. Like, staff was amazing, and they were so grateful that they were able to work because the resort was closed for a few months.
Yeah, exactly.
And so everybody was really kind. And I mean, that's what it was like when we were there before.
Yeah, exactly.
The staff is just like super helpful, super kind.
Yeah. And for those that don't know me, that are watching from her channel, that I'm kind of a people person. So,
kind of.
Yeah, kind of. Not in a big way at all. So, we literally had staff that remembered us from...
Remembered you.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's true. Remembered me from 2 years ago. Actually, I've been in contact with them through Instagram and told him I was going to be there. And he literally, like a week before, this is Paul, by the way. Paul, by the way, remember we got to do our Yelp review for them.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Paul, lifeguard. This guy's the greatest, man. Like I said, yo, we're going to be there in a week. He literally sent me a video, said, yo, look what's happening today. It looks good, doesn't it? And we're like, yeah, it looks great. But it was still quiet, but it looked amazing, you know? So you're right. The staff was amazing. You know, with everything considering, they were, you know, they're very upbeat. It's just, you're right. Happy to be back to work. Yeah. And we're happy for them, you know? So it was great. Yeah.
It did rain a lot.
Yeah, but
I've never experienced a vacation when it rained, but that's not something you can control. But
exactly.
Again, with the fact that we couldn't leave, and there wasn't really nightlife, we got a lot of rest. And I feel like people ask me, how was it? I'm like, I feel like I caught up on the sleep I didn't get the last 3 years.
Yeah.
There were some nights I was asleep before 7 o'clock p.m.
Yeah.
Slept full till the next morning. I feel like I actually relaxed.
Yeah.
And I didn't work very much. There was only a couple like things I had to fix.
Yeah.
But I was planning on working a lot while we were there, and I decided once we were there, I was like, you know what? I just need to like actually relax. And when it would rain, we would go hang out in the room and nap.
Watch TV.
Watch the Raptors.
Some disappointment, some good. Oh yeah, we were watching that game. What was it? 3? When Anunoby hit that shot. Yeah. Trust me, we were. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The whole resort heard me.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's but it was relaxing. It was relaxing.
Yeah.
And I think with not having as many people there, the hype of wanting to go out and do stuff is not there. So you can really just relax.
Yeah.
So all in all, like not we're at a conclusion right now, but you know what? It'd be a good time to just get away because you get up and you could just. You know, with all the craziness that's happening in the world, with what's going on, just to be in a place where you could just sit out and watch, you know, really smell fresh air and be by the water, which is, you know, that is just like an antidepressant in its own right. Just to soak it all in, I think that was probably the most beneficial part about the whole trip. Yeah, right?
I agree.
Yeah.
Another thing too, when it came to restaurants, is protocol. You had to wear your mask.
Yes.
Going in.
Yeah.
You could take it off when you were at your table eating.
Yeah, which is just like here.
Yep. They took your temperature, like you said, and then there was something I've never seen before, which was that hand washing thing.
Oh, that was. Hold on. I'm gonna let you explain it, but you gotta give them the proper lead up, yo. Listen, let me tell you about my people, eh? Don't let them think Jamaicans are simple people, because let's be honest, I've never seen anything like this. Yeah. Like, I was thoroughly impressed. I've never seen anything like this. Explain.
So essentially, after they take
this
your
is
number,
at the buffet though.
Yeah, at the buffet.
Yeah.
They take your temperature, get your room number, all that. Then you have to wash your hands. So there's this machine that is in the wall. You stick your hand in 2 holes, and it's on for 12 seconds, and it has
20.
20 seconds, and it has a solution to sanitize your hands and then rinse them.
Yeah.
And then there's a touchless paper towel dispenser and a touchless garbage can to put it all in.
Yeah.
But you could you had to sanitize your hand when you went in, and you could when you went out as well.
Yeah.
So that was something else that I had never seen anything like that. And then all the other restaurants, they had hand sanitizer, as well as the store, the jewelry store.
Yep.
Everywhere you went, there was sanitizer that they would sanitize your hand, and they were wearing gloves while they sprayed for you to sanitize.
And it wasn't, and see here, when you go into stores, you kind of have to do the sanitizing on your own.
Yeah.
Not there. They're making sure that, as soon as you walk in, don't touch anything. They didn't say that, but they're running at you to make sure your hands are sanitized.
Yeah.
They're following protocol to the T, which I actually was very appreciative of. Like, it made me feel very safe being there.
Yeah, and I think that that's the thing, and a lot of people have been like, why would you travel during our pandemic? And it was, I mean, we've explained why, but also we felt really safe there, and knew that because the precautions were in place, it was like being at home.
100%, just with better weather and better scenery.
Yeah, and actually
way
able
better
to like,
food.
way better.
Sorry.
And actually able to like relax, something that I'm not naturally very good at.
That is very true. There's been a lot of true statements in this last 3 minutes segment. But no, you're right. It's definitely, it's going away right now seems like a really good time just to get away and really just to be on vacation.
Yeah. I think the other thing too is we don't know what's going to happen in the next few months, if there's going to be a second wave, if we're going to be able to travel again. And so there were several like reasons why now was the time to do it, as well as for me and my business. The last week of summer is really, really slow in fitness. So I was starting a challenge when we got back. So it just timing wise and after the move, like it made a lot of sense.
And for me, going into the fourth quarter of real estate market, it was good to get away, get a proper reset, get my mind clear, now push until the Christmas time. And who knows, we might be going away in January because it's going to be slow again. So might as well right now work till that opportunity. But and I'll say this, I'll definitely go to places in the Caribbean. Like, I think besides DR, probably I would not, but like Barbados, St. Lucia, all these places, Grenada, I would definitely, not even call it taking a chance. I think I would take the opportunity and get away because you are going to get good deals, right?
And we've heard, so there are some statistics that in terms of traveling, it is like a 5% chance of getting COVID with travel because of all the precautions in place and all the testing that's required. And if you were to go to a restaurant in Toronto, you might be at more of a 40% chance.
Yeah, which is actually pretty crazy.
So to think of like those kinds of things, and I'll get into what Air Canada is doing to try and get some of that data that I opted in for. So that was our experience at the hotel. We'll go into the on the way home.
On the way home. So that now is where, because I have a friend.
He actually cried.
What?
I'm just joking.
She's crazy. No, because I have a friend that travels back and forth from Chicago and gave me some really good insight into, what to kind of look forward to. And they made remarks to that coming back when you're at the airport. That's the time where it's kind of where you could feel a little bit more uneasy. And needless to say, that's what I did. But I'm not going to skip ahead. So leaving, same protocols, sanitize. The bus came and picked us up. The bus was a little bit more full.
There was like six other people
on the bus, but you're still able to social distance. Masks all stayed on, but I mean, we were all at the same resort, so most of us kind of like, some had their mask on, some didn't. I understand why, because our temperatures were being taken every day, so you know who's been doing what or whatnot. So, get, nice drive back, and obviously you're tired because it was kind of early because our flight was what time?
At 1, but we had our bus picked us up at 8:30.
Yeah, and that's because of protocol.
Yeah.
We've now got to be there way earlier than we would have wanted to. So anyways, get there, and honestly, getting through wasn't as bad.
No, it wasn't. And when we checked our luggage, so we had already paid for our luggage ahead of time.
That's right, yes.
But we get there, they're taking our luggage, and he was probably the nicest flight attendant.
Brandon.
Taking information, like it was just, he was amazing.
Yeah.
And then he told us a program that Air Canada had implemented while we were away. So he gave us a card with all the details, but essentially you can opt in to take a COVID test when you land, and then a COVID test on day 7 and a COVID test on day 14. So we filled out the applications, some forms just while we were flying. And then when we landed, went through that protocol. So he had told us about that, gave us an opportunity to read about it. We ended up, I had 2 extra passes to get into the VIP lounge.
Which
was nice. So we were able to social distance there, had some food and drink, but it was pretty relaxed in there.
But there was a lot of people in there.
Yeah, it still was.
Yeah, there was a lot of people in there.
But they had everything spaced out, and they cleaned everything in between every time someone was there. But usually it's like a buffet kind of style. This time you order off a menu, they bring you what you want.
Exactly. You don't handle anything.
Oh,
let's rewind a little bit. At the buffet, when we were there 2 years ago, you took whatever you wanted.
That's a very big one.
When we were there now, and they served you. You can have as much as you want, but they serve you. So you never touch the food. The only thing that you touch is the plate after they've plated you. So
that's a big one.
That is a big one because
we were like, is the buffet going to be open?
Yeah, exactly.
And so that's how they solved it.
Yes.
It was really smooth. Sometimes you would wait in line, but there was nothing really too crazy.
No, nothing. Like even the lineups that we had this year were less, but are sort of the same than what we had 2 years ago. Like like if everybody wanted to eat the Jamaican food that day, then you're gonna get a line no matter what, right? So it's just maybe the wait time was a little bit less. This time around. But so
back to traveling home.
Back to traveling
that
home.
That was a very good point to remember. I forgot about that one. That one's a big one. We get on the plane again. There was nobody in our row.
Exactly.
Which was great, and the plane wasn't as full, but still quite full.
Yes, exactly. It wasn't packed but definitely.
But I would say 3/4 full.
Because they actually asked us to check our carry-on.
Oh yeah, true.
And they did it for free of cost.
Right.
Because the plane was, getting close to being full.
Yeah. So the flight home, I was oblivious to a lot of things. I was watching things on my iPad.
Oh, I was watching stuff on my phone, and I was watching as the plane kept dancing. Yeah, God had us dancing all the way back home. I'm very uneasy with flying. So if it's smooth, I'm great. But I can't sleep on flights. So any bump, I'm up. The seatbelt sign never came off.
Yeah, that's true.
That's how bumpy it was. But then when I come to find out, we literally were passing, because when you fly back, you sometimes pass over Louisiana, sometimes in that area, that pocket of water, they are dealing with a hurricane. So, hey, that was great. That was great. Told her when we got off the plane, I don't think I'm flying anymore. No, I don't care. We're not going nowhere. I don't care.
It wasn't about the pandemic. It was about that turbulence.
Just about the turbulence. Like, whatever. I'm good. I saw Jamaica again. I'm blessed. No, I'm just, you know what it is. I'm just not easy. I just uneasy with flying. But anyways, we landed.
Yeah. We're still here.
Yeah, exactly. We made it. It was great to get back.
Yeah. And getting through everything when we landed actually didn't seem like that much more time. They asked some extra questions.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're right.
So we landed, we went through the typical things you go through.
So if we rewind this video, you'll see a part where I said I'll talk about where the uneasy part comes in when you're coming back. Now we're at that point. Because when you're going through customs, they have still not figured out how to keep everybody socially distanced. Now this is the point where you have people coming in from high COVID number places, areas, the US, wherever, and we're all in the same lines.
Yeah.
You've been, if you've flown to anywhere and you're coming back through customs, how it goes, and it's still the same. If you've flown last year or if you've flown during the pandemic, it's the exact same thing. So that's where it's like, shoot.
And they had to constantly tell people, make sure you're social distancing, like stay apart, and opening more things.
Yeah.
And
So that's where you realize that they haven't figured it out yet.
Yeah.
And that's tough because you're right. People are exhausted. They've been at the airport, wherever they're coming from, they've been there for how long, and you're trying to tell them to keep 60, but they're just trying to get home, right? We're just trying to get out of the airport so we can take off our masks, you know, right? Because this whole time you've had your mask on from in the plane to walking, and our terminal to where we go to where we're getting to customs is like the furthest terminal away. So you're walking for like 15 minutes. It felt like it could be less, but it felt like you were walking for like 15 minutes.
And when we got off the plane, they only let 50 at a time.
That's
so
right.
the first 50 could go off, and we were like 53 and 54.
Exactly.
So they waited 5 minutes until everybody went through that long walk.
So that they didn't have too much people congregating or together.
Yeah.
Which is good. It's great protocol, but you know, now you're still on this plane, for, you know, another 5 minutes while you're waiting to get off.
Well, people are still not social distancing.
Exactly.
Yeah. So there were some things that we would just like make sure that we were doing what we could do and make sure we were staying away from people and that kind of thing. And then when you get to do all your documentation, scan your passport and all that, they gave you a piece of paper with information about what you do once you're home.
Yes.
Basically, we went to the customs desk and they asked us a few questions: where we came from, are we agreeing that we're going to quarantine for 2 weeks, how are we getting food is one of the questions they asked us. So I said Instacart, because I already had Instacart, so we knew that that's what we were going to have to expect, and that we live together. So that was one of the other questions: where are you quarantining, and is there anybody else there? And then we went through, and then somebody else stopped us with more questions about why we traveled, how we felt about traveling. That was a little weird.
But that was like a security agent, and it was weird why she was asking. I think she was really just curious. Yeah. I think she just needed somebody to talk to, because
it was weird.
It was weird. Very random, weird.
And then we got our luggage. That was pretty simple. It was coming out right when you got there. Yeah.
It was already like on the belt. Yeah.
And then we went through regular, gave our pass, and then once you got through there, that whole COVID test thing, they had a whole station set up. So, which is
not sponsored, but it's being done through McMaster University.
Right. Yeah. So it's being done by Air Canada because the government isn't collecting this kind of data, so they wanted to collect some data. Right. So essentially, you register the COVID test that they give you, and then they show you how to administer this test. Yeah. So it's not like the one that goes in the back of your nose. It is a swab. You put it in your mouth, on your tongue, and then behind this tooth, you swirl it 3 times, and then on this side, and then in your nostrils 3 times, and then you put it in a tube, put it in a bag. And when I was there, she took my sample. And again, everything was like sanitized beforehand, and I had to sanitize and sanitize after. And then she made sure I had no questions, and then gave me 2 tests to take home. So I did the first one on day 7. I got a phone call that morning saying we'll be there between X and Y time. Leave it at your doorstep. It's contactless. They pick it up, and both times you have your results within 48 hours. So both times have been negative. I have one more to do, so we're filming this just before we're about to finish our quarantine. So I have another one tomorrow, and they'll pick it up tomorrow. And it was pretty seamless.
So she's saying she did it because the reason why I didn't do it, well, when we registered for it, because everything is done on this app, they have an app for it, and the registration process is pretty seamless. But then when I got there, they literally you have to scan in.
It's like every test has a unique number.
Exactly, it has a different SKU number. And so when I tried to register my SKU number through the phone, through my app that I put on my phone, it wouldn't work. They tried 3 different bags, and they're like, okay, well, you're gonna have to sign up if you want to do this. You got to sign up through a laptop or whatnot. And I'm like, I've been on this flight for how long? You know what? Hers worked. We live together. We've been together this whole time. So I say, you know, one will be fine. So she did it, and
Air Canada was nice. You got like HBO and something else for a month for doing it, as well as if you complete it, then you also get 20% off 2 flights with Air Canada. So that'll be a nice little bonus.
Exactly.
Then quarantine. So quarantine is 2 weeks. You can't leave your house. Yeah. ordered food in the whole time. Basically, the fresh air has been on our balcony.
Yep.
And leaving the windows and doors open.
Yep.
For me, hasn't been as challenging because I now have a studio in our house and my office. So for the most part, that's all I would really do during the week. For him, it's been much more of a challenge, if I can say that. Not only the fact that like he is we're both people, but we're different a little bit. And what your business is also requires you to be in front of people and showings and that kind of thing, and not seeing Cooper.
Yeah, which is the biggest part, not seeing my daughter, because being away for 10 days, then now an extra 14 on top of it. So it's almost a month I haven't seen, physically hold and hugged my daughter. So I can't wait till tomorrow. But so with that said, I would suggest if you are going to go away for longer than you're going to be on quarantine for.
Yeah.
Because then I feel like at that point, at least now you've really, you need that break. You need your vacation away from your vacation to get back. And it's only 14 days. Because now we went away for 9, but we're stuck in the house for longer than we were away. So it doesn't make sense at that point, right? So we were your guinea pigs. You're welcome. It sucks. Don't go for 7 days and then need to quarantine for 14.
Yeah, go for
it's
a longer,
stupid.
Yeah.
It's dumb. I think it's dumb.
Yeah.
So,
but we are alive still.
Yeah.
We're still together.
Yeah.
We survived.
Close.
And quarantine's just about over. By the time you see this, quarantine will be over, and we can resume somewhat of a normal COVID life.
With new restrictions apparently.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know what? Honestly, the trip was great. Quarantine definitely was
a challenge.
Yes, I was trying to find another word. We've used challenge a lot in this.
So let me ask you, was it worth it?
Well, yeah, of course. Like just to get away, and because I'll tell you.
What did you call it?
What?
What did you call it? To get away for what?
To get away?
What did you call our trip?
Oh.
If you know him, you know that this is very like out of character. But he gave our trip a name.
Yes, it was vacation. Bay.
I was told when we first started dating, don't ever call me Bay. I don't like it. So it made it even funnier.
But yes, it made this vacation. It made it what it was because we actually had time for ourselves because we weren't trying to go out and party and and yes, don't get me wrong, we met great people at the resort. Yeah. Oh, we met a lot of Americans.
Yep.
Rose and Sal from Staten Island, New York, and what's their name again?
I don't remember their names, but they're also from New York. Be Courageous.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. And they're correctional officers.
Yeah.
I'm like,
really
how
cool
are you able to get out of the city? A couple from Houston, Texas. Two couples from Washington, D.C. And a dude from Philadelphia. Like, there was a lot of Americans. And
I don't think we met the travel agent we met. She was Canadian, but that was about it.
There was one other Canadian, that was there. And she was a travel agent, spending quality time with her daughter.
And it was funny because a lot of questions we got from people from Jamaica was, oh, Canada is letting people travel?
Yeah.
So it was interesting that we didn't really meet any other Canadians while we were there.
But I think it's because Canadians are a little bit more apprehensive of traveling, right? Yeah. And so that's why they're not seeing as many Canadians. So they're probably thinking Canada's not allowed. But hey, we are allowed. We are coming from a lower risk area, but depending on going to Jamaica, you could feel really safe by traveling there. Yeah. Because they treat us as high risk, even though we're lower. We're way lower than the New Yorkers that they let in. Yeah.
So it was a really good trip. It's been a good experience. We definitely wanted...
Except for quarantining.
I feel like the first week wasn't so hard. Yeah. Week 2 was more of a challenge. And I think it's because you're not allowed to. So it's like when you're a kid, when it's like, don't do this, don't touch the stove, and all you want to do is touch the stove. Yeah. When
and we're adults. Like, we mean we can't go outside. Like, what? I can't go outside.
Yeah. Like I wanted to start running this week and I couldn't. So I will be starting that this week now that I can go out and enjoy some fresh air and the cooler weather.
Cooler weather. That's, to be honest with you, that's why I really was getting excited for this trip, because when we were leaving, it actually started to get cold.
Yeah.
And, you know, texting a couple of friends when we were in Jamaica, they're like, oh, it's a good time for you to be away.
Yeah.
They're wearing sweaters right now. So I was like, yes. Like when we got back, it was freezing.
Yeah, it was.
It was cold.
Yeah.
Like I was like, oh, perfect.
Also, one other thing I'll mention too about the COVID test that I did, they reminded you every time that you still had to quarantine.
Oh,
so that is another question that I got from people was, do you still have to quarantine even though you're taking these tests? And yes, they're still collecting data, that kind of thing. So I still had to.
Yeah.
We're almost out of jail.
Yeah. About to get my ankle. I keep telling everybody I'm on house arrest. Yeah. But I'm about to get the ankle monitor off, and we're about to be free.
Yeah. So I think that's probably it. If you have any other questions, feel free to leave it in the comments and we will try our best to answer them. If we get enough, we'll do a second video, but I think we went into detail. We've been almost an hour. So hopefully you found this somewhat entertaining as well.
You better have.
This is also the first time you're on my channel. So
hey.
This is Mike. We didn't actually do an introduction, but I mean, he wore a shirt that said his name.
Yeah, so just so you didn't forget me, you know.
So if you don't know who he is, also, he is a real estate agent in the GTA. So you can hit him up. His Instagram is Michael K. Hyatt. You can find him on Instagram and Facebook. He's my boo thing.
Oh boy, here we go. You're so cute.
Yeah, okay. Anyways, that is all from us. Also, leave a comment if you want more videos with the two of us, and not just me. This could be, you were kind of entertaining. I mean, that's naturally who you are, though.
Kind of? I resent that.
So, you might see more of him on some other videos. It might actually be kind of entertaining.
I have to talk to my agents.
Yeah. Drop some ideas. If you have ideas of videos you want us to do, we're up for it.
Yeah, this was fun. I'll do it again.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Peace out.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Jungle. Audio 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 Jungle.
Welcome back to my channel. I am so excited for today's video because we're talking about one of my favorite things, travel. And yes, we did travel during COVID, which is what this video is all about. So if you're new to my channel, I am Sarah Taylor. I'm a plus size personal trainer. We are in my virtual studio right now, so I teach virtual classes for plus size women, helping women build their confidence and strength in and out of the gym. So all of our classes are accessible for different fitness levels, as well as we've got a dose of self-love because that is where it all starts, on the inside. Anyways, I am not gonna get too long into this introduction. I want you to enjoy this video. We received a ton of questions, both of us, about our travel experience, so we're sharing the whole thing. The video is about an hour, and at the end I've included some footage from our trip as well. It was a pretty low-key trip, as you will hear, so most of the photos are of my bikinis. I had a different one every day. Most of them are from Vie En Rose, the Cheeky Bikini, and my girl Amadora Designs. If you're looking for where each of them are from, head over to my Instagram, the.sarahtaylor, and I've tagged them in all of those posts. Also, you can find Mike at Michael K. Hyatt. He is a real estate agent in the GTA area. we are both entrepreneurs, which makes things interesting. Anyways, I'm gonna leave it at that. Enjoy!